Yeah, back out and go back into it. You was in there before I started streaming, innit? You donut. No. Oh, boy. Oh, I've got to go.
Jason, we just got word from the production booth that melted some of the audio cables. May have had some technical difficulties there leading into the that IGC. What did we just see?
What didn't you just see? We saw some dragons. We saw a huge mech. We saw Nikolai in that universe.
But it was all set to the awe-inspiring tune of
Ace of Spades by Motorhead.
I know, right? Come at you, full frontal.
It really just kind of sets the mood. I mean, that's the kind of piece it is, and DLC 3 really is.
So whenever people pick up piece of cover art to the DLC 3 experience.
Yeah, so it's become a bit of a tradition now, which is that every time we do another zombies map, we reach out to really kind of artists who inspire us or we're kind of great fans of. And this time we reached out to Craig Mullins, who is a phenomenal artist. And we did our DLC 3 Gorod Crovey poster with Craig Mullins.
And what was his response when you called him up and said, "I want you to do this City of Blood thing"?
He's fantastic, and he's the way he kind of it's hard to talk about this without getting a little bit too arty, but the way he kind of captures light and the feeling of that kind of chaos and the city on fire was really inspiring to us. He works very quickly, but then super detailed as well. So each time we kind of get a different artist in, we want to have them represent their style, and I think this is a fantastic piece that kind of really talks about the energy for this map.
I'm gonna have to wash some of that artiness off, man. I think I got some on me. So, but the what you guys are doing with zombies and on the zombies front doesn't even stop there. We've got some news coming up for the end of July, right?
Yeah.
So, what are you going to be up to on July 21st?
How do you want to frame it?
Well, if I look at these handy-dandy notes, I seem to think that you will be at San Diego Comic-Con to unveil a new comic book.
You heard it here first. Yes, it's now's the time to kind of talk about that. Yeah, we're going to be going to Comic-Con. We are working with our partners, Dark Horse Comics, and doing a zombies comic series. And this is fantastic because we have so much story that's kind of going on inside our DLCs, and we only get the opportunity to essentially have 4 of them in our DLC season, and 2, when we first kind of come out. But there's so much story to be told that we really wanted another kind of medium to be able to kind of tell our stories. And I'd said previously that there was no such thing as a one-off map in zombies. And to hold true to that statement, I really needed other kind of outlets to kind of tell these stories and connect everything together. So if you're a zombie story guy, the comic is an essential part to be able to understand some of the kind of connections going all the way back to the beginning of our 8-year story. It allows us to connect certain things and set us up possibly also for the future. So incredibly excited and happy about that. And we got phenomenal writer and artist involved, and our front cover, we're probably going to show it on screen at some point, but front cover done by Simon Bisley.
We've worked with Simon before, right?
We worked with Simon before. He did the poster for the Giant. And we're all just, he's a huge fans of him, and he's a great friend of the studio. So he's been doing the covers for all our comics.
So, it was written, the comic book was written by Justin Jordan, illustrated by Jonathan Wayshak. I mean, these guys bring some legit credentials. What was it like sort of taking Zombies canon and, sort of transforming it or adapting it to comic books?
It's really fun because the comic medium is very different, obviously, than games. It allows you to be a little bit more considered in some sense. Because, in games, you're kind of putting it together and it's kind of molding and moving. It's very energetic. With the comic, you can sit down, plan it out. So for the guys, for things like that, you could really just lay it out, and every panel, every pane can be considered. So if you want to kind of tease something or show something or hint something, you can do that with no doubt that the viewer will see it. In games, you don't know where they're looking, what they're doing. So the comic was really exciting, and it's I believe it's the beginning of us looking at different mediums, different ways to tell stories, and to really kind of take our zombie storyline and kind of explore ways in which our audience can digest it.
Well, that's just sort of dipping the toes in the water. For anyone that wants to hear Jason talk a little bit more about what it was like to take Call of Duty Zombies to comic books, feel free to head to room 23 ABC at 5 p.m. on July 21st, whenever Jason joins the Dark Horse comic books, video games, comics, level up panel. That was only a mouthful.
That was a short title.
That was a short title.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there, does it? Actually, that's the 5 p.m. showing. At noon, you and Craig Hewson,
yes.
You guys developed this story. You'll be doing a comic signing on the show floor at booth number 2615 at the Dark Horse comic booth at noon with Craig.
I'm glad you've got these cards. There's no way I could remember all this stuff.
Yeah, right. Me too. So, all right. We covered quite a bit. We have Gorod Krovi coming tomorrow as part of Descent. We've got San Diego Comic-Con Thursday, July 21st. Call of Duty Zombies. What haven't we covered? What do we need to cover off before we head on to multiplayer?
I suppose I should just throw in terms of Gorod Krovi, the kind of feeling of it, the intent behind it. Obviously, it's a kind of integral and crucial part of our storyline. And this is really kind of setting up us getting ready for our DLC 4 finale. So for story guys, it's an absolute essential experience. For gameplay guys, a lot of the things that we've been putting in place through this whole season really kind of comes to a fore in Gorod Krovi. A lot of the kind of work that the team, because the team works incredibly hard setting all this stuff up, I think is phenomenally executed inside Gorod Krovi. And so I'm hoping from a gameplay perspective as well, people really enjoy this experience because it's been absolutely a labor of love. And I think it kind of harkens back to some of our older style stuff back in the World at War, back at the World War II kind of days at the Treyarch Studios, but also kind of brings in a lot of the kind of learnings and experience we've got through our zombie series so far. So I think it's a really fun experience, and I hope people enjoy it.
All right. Gorod Krovi coming out tomorrow as part of Descent. But also as part of Descent, we've got 4 new multiplayer maps. And shortly, we will have the studio's own Miles Leslie and Matt Schrantz on hand to talk a little bit more about those. But for right now, let's get to the multiplayer goodness and premiere our new multiplayer trailer. Check this out.
DLC packs, one great price.
Let's go. All right. Wow. Word coming in from the production booth, some fiber optic cable may have melted during that. All right, so it's been interesting here at the studio this morning. We've got Mr. Matt Schrantz joining us momentarily to talk about the 4 new multiplayer maps available in Descent tomorrow morning. We've got a couple new maps, including Empire, which is the reimagining of the Black Ops 2 favorite raid. Additionally, we have Berserk, Cryogen, and Rumble. What am I forgetting? Oh, wait a second. Mr. Schrantz, come join us. Matt, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Outstanding.
So you were at Cryogen, Rumble?
You know what? Let's just pick it up with Empire.
Empire,
All
okay.
right? So this is the reimagining of Raid,
Yes.
the beloved Black Ops 2 fan favorite. So, you know, for DLC 2, there was the reimagining of Bonsai as Verge. Tell us a little bit about what it was like reimagining Empire with the new movement system.
Right. So like you said, with Bonsai, Verge, we took some of those learnings of kind of experimenting with the different movement mechanics of Black Ops 3, which we didn't have in World at War, and then moving that into Raid, which is now Empire. We took a look at that and we tried a few different things. Tried some new wall runs, wrapping the pools around. We looked at that and none of it really made sense. So when it came down to it, we just really tried to preserve that Raid feel. So a lot of the gameplay is going to really feel like Raid. Miles, welcome.
Hi.
Hey, Miles.
Hi, how's it going?
Outstanding.
Good. Yeah, like Matt said, every reimagined map, we keep learning what not to do.
Yeah.
So we always push it to the extreme, and we're like, oh, it's going to be so awesome if we do this, because the core movement system usually doesn't, because it does ruin the original. So we tried a lot of things, didn't work. Number one was to maintain the Raid feel, which I think it's got enough Black Ops 3 and the Raid feel in Empire that I think players are going to like it.
Well, if I was a Black Ops 2 player and I really loved playing Raid, you know, what am I going to love about Empire?
You're going to keep those iconic fights, right, that we had in Raid. You know, right off the spawn, you're going to get those fights across the courtyard that we experienced back in Black Ops 2. You're going to fight over the driveway from the art room to the laundry room, which is now, I think, a hardware room.
It's a blacksmith.
Blacksmith room.
Authentic Roman blacksmith, of course.
That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
So in the playtest, the numerous hundreds of playtests that we've had on this map through development, I think we've all really still experienced those same fights that we grew to love.
Oh, well, I can tell you that was sacrificed over that courtyard area. Absolutely loved it, and from what I played in Raid, it seems like things won't change for me.
That's right.
In the best way, in the best sense possible. But we're also bringing Berserk. All right. Now this one is a Viking frozen village.
That's right. Yeah, this is
well, what else would it be?
Well, this is a really cool idea. So we've run in. We're at the point where we really want to offer some really unique and new environments every DLC offering. And so this was really just, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, and that's always how the ideas start, wouldn't it be cool if you're battling in a Viking village? It's got Lord of the Rings style fantasy sort of infused with it. And then from there, we really started looking at the architecture, the Viking stuff, and it offered some really unique stuff that we haven't done before. So when we built this map, and it's built into this mountain, it's really got some new gameplay that feels Viking-esque and feels very new and different, because you got this bridge and this canyon stuff.
Yeah, that's the first thing I go to when I think of a new idea is Viking Village.
Sure.
Matt's a Viking.
At heart. Yeah, so he kind of touched on the unique gameplay experiences that you're going to experience in Berserk. What we've got here is there's some really cool curved wall runs in the middle that lead to the kind of centerpiece bridge. And we try a lot of different things out through development. With this, at one point we had it to where you could kind of snipe towards the bridge. That was a little frustrating, so eventually we just forced the player to commit to that fight. So if you want to hit that wall run to the bridge, you're really going to have to commit to it. You're going to have to that's going to be your fight. But at the same time, we've got some maneuverability there to where you can wall run straight to the bridge from the exterior canyons. But you can also hit under the bridge and basically just cut the map right in half, go under the fight for the cool flanks. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This one, I'm a big CTF fan, like so many of you out there. But this is a really great CTF map. I like CTF maps to where you've got some maneuverability, and you're going to be able to grab a flag and immediately make those decisions. Do you want to cut through the wall run? Do you want to just go straight down the bridge? So it's a lot of fun. And Safeguard. Safeguard is really fun. We've got some really cool line battles set up throughout the map, leading to that final push that you get so many times in Safeguard.
Yeah,
it's the first time you could avoid the entire middle lane by cutting through this canyon. So it offers something new, is that, like Matt said, you can be clever with the cat and mouse with the flag or an uplink ball or something, and duck out of the bridge, go above the bridge, below the bridge in very interesting ways.
All right, well, lay it on me in terms of with Rumble. Tell us a little bit about the setting, but the kind of engagements that people are in store for with this one.
So Rumble is really awesome. I really like this map. And to give you sort of the precursor on why we thought of this idea, so Treyarch and some of the fans kind of rag on us because they say Treyarch only knows how to make 3-lane maps, right? You guys only make formulaic, repetitive 3-lane maps.
I've never heard that before.
And the funny thing is, the interesting thing there is that if you look at past developers that have made really successful FPS games, they also have 3 lanes. CS and even COD 4, which is heralded as like the greatest COD game ever, and it does have really awesome maps. They all have 3 lanes. So it's not a Treyarch thing. It's just inherent to good map design. But we did want to try to flip it on its head and really try to deliver something that didn't feel like the standard 3-lane style that we do start from. So this map actually really only has 2 lanes. Clearly defined 2 lanes. One is an interior in the stadium. This other is this large arena area that offers some overwatches and some really interesting fights.
Matt, anything to add? It's what Miles said.
Yes, ditto. The 2-lane is really refreshing for gameplay. It kind of cuts down on where you need to look for enemies, but at the same time we've got some nice, like he kind of mentioned, the tunnel that leads from the inside lane to the outside lane. So that tunnel, you're going to be able to take that. We've got a bunker in the arena, which is a very big power point for various game modes globally, but search and destroy, there's going to be a hard point in that bunker. But if you need to root an enemy out, you're going to be able to take that tunnel underground and then come in and surprise your enemy. And then, like I said, over that power point, we've got some nice window battles for the snipers, semi-autos. So those window battles are going to be fighting from window to window. And then at the same time, you're going to have that bunker power point.
Well, just out of curiosity, when it comes to like map design and sort of designing a map that accommodated a variety of different play styles, were there any particular challenges with a 2-lane structure versus 3-lane, or did 2 lanes kind of open it up and make it easier to adapt?
It's hard regardless in any lane map because you're trying to give enough variety to every play style so that anyone can be successful.
Absolutely.
But you're absolutely right, is that 2 lanes does focus it even more, and you really have to be precise on the overwatches and what engagements you want. There, is it medium or long? To this bunker, how am I going to get in the bunker? Is there enough cover and engagements that I can be CQB and I can be short so that I can be successful? And that's where this tunnel kind of originated from, was you had these 2 lanes in this big open arena, and CQB guys and short-range guys just could not get out and take this bunker at all. So we were joking, I was like, let's add a bunker, right? And we threw it in, and it actually worked. And that's sort of the iterative process of, regardless of things sound silly, you got to try them. So it's got enough variety that it feels fresh, like Matt was saying, and it offers something for everyone. But it was difficult to get there to make sure that it's got that offering.
All right. Last map on our list, Cryogen, located out in the Dead Sea. No?
Yes.
Well, that was a question. It was just,
It's a sea that's dead.
Tell me more.
That's right. So this is actually a really interesting map because we tried to do a cryogenic prison on bo3.
Okay.
But it didn't work. It failed. We cut it internally. It just didn't work. We didn't have the tools and the design that we wanted, that we felt good about doing it. So we've always had this idea to bring it back. And with the Black Ops 3 core movement system and everything else, it was the right time. And it felt right when we were designing it to bring it back. So it's really got some interesting stuff with this sort of King of the Hill aspect that we've got going on in the middle.
Yeah, I consider this map kind of our core movement playground.
Okay.
We've taken a lot of the learnings from free run DLC maps that we've done previously and kind of pushed those a little bit further. So we've got some really cool cylinders on the interior of the space that are going to force that player to, if you want to take that power point of the kind of main cylinder, you're going to have to wall run. You're going to have to use the skills that you've learned for the past 8 months to get to that point.
Sure.
And at the same time, a lot of the walls here in this level have been rounded off, so it's really going to allow you to keep those wall runs moving and chain those from one to the other.
All right. All right, we covered a lot of ground on the multiplayer maps. Any final thoughts that you want to add?
Miles, what you got?
Oh, I've said it before when we previously talked about DLC too, but I'm super proud of the team because we're continually challenging and pushing ourselves throughout each DLC. And like Matt said, is every failure and success, both internally and how the public are giving us feedback, which is great when it's not mean, stop being mean, is really good. And we take that and we critically think about what the problems are. So I'm super happy that we're continually learning and pushing ourselves. And each of these maps, even Empire, which is great, offers something new that players haven't experienced before, and I think they're really going to enjoy it. So.
All right.
Cool.
Well, that is what people can expect tomorrow on the multiplayer front with Descent. But we are joined by the ever-elusive studio design director, David Vonderhaar. David, welcome.
Hashtag not red.
All right, so Descent comes out tomorrow, but that's not all we have for people this week. Something coming out on Friday. Tell us more.
I hear this is my one more thing moment right now.
This is your one more thing.
Right now. So we want to come on the stream and talk to everybody about something that we've been working on. A couple of months in the making now. Not something you'd normally do this late in the cycle. You'll read about it in the patch notes, which just went up with the title update that you're probably downloading right now, and that's Fracture. So Fracture is a brand new game mode. We're going to put it out on Friday. We're going to put it out in the bonus playlist. And what this does is allows us and you to work together to try to figure out what Fracture will need from all of us to promote it into that core category, right? There's a lot of playlists in this game. Every time you do a playlist, you split the matchmaking up just one more tiny, small groups of players. So it's actually really important for us to get that right always and make sure that we have a healthy, sustained population so you can find good matches in there. Fracture is really exciting for us. It's really fun for us to play internally. I think you get a lot of really kind of heated conversation about sort of how to pivot the mode and what's the best parts of it and where to take it. And we're having a lot of fun with that conversation. So working with Dan Bunting and the team, we really thought the best way to go about that was to actually just stop holding on to it as we were doing and give it to you so that we can kind of extend the conversation that we're having internally into you. So I'm sure our friends at Reddit and other places will help us create the official places to have that dialogue and conversation. So on Friday, probably around 10 a.m., Fracture will be in bonus. So you'll bonus Fracture, and then you can play it. Matt, why don't you tell them about Fracture?
Yep. So Fracture, thank you, Vaughn, by the way. So when we set out to bring a new game mode, we had a bunch of ideas. It's kind of how we did with Safeguard. But we know that two teams focused on a single objective is fun. We found that from Hardpoint. We found that from Safeguard. We realized some other game modes in in Black Ops 3 are very popular, like Kill Confirmed, with the act of killing an enemy and him dropping an object. So we kind of threw all of that in the mix, and we came out with Fracture. So what Fracture is going to be is two teams pitted against each other. When you kill an enemy, he's going to drop what we call a core file. You'll see that on the ground as an orange object. It's a unique asset to the game, so it won't look like anything else. You'll want to go pair to how you would in Kill Confirmed. But the difference here is that once you pick that up, it's going to be on your person. You're going to hold that. You'll be able to see how many core files you're holding. You can hold up to 10. And then in order to score for your team, you're going to want to go find the Fracture site, which is the deposit point. So you want to take all of your core files to the Fracture site. That Fracture site is going to be online for about a minute when it releases on Friday. And you want to stand in that deposit point. And as you stand there, you will deposit your core files. That's how you're going to score for your team.
So it takes about a quarter second per core file, so it's not you don't just get to run and then that's it. You go there, and if you have a lot, it's very satisfying. Score sort of building up. It's a 25 score per event. The mode can have really big swings. So I think what's pretty interesting from the scoring side for us that you don't normally see is normally there's a score, the score goes up by 1. Here, the score can actually be 5 and then go up to 10 because someone drops into the fracture point, pops out 5. You can really cut somebody off, take out them, pick up all the core files that they were carrying, take all those back and capture them. You can get these kind of very interesting swings. I think we have a 10-minute timer right now, and it's 60 fragments.
Yep.
So the games are lasting 7 minutes, 8 minutes, somewhere in there.
Yeah, about 8 minutes.
Yeah, so it's it'll play in sort of the Call of Duty time that you're all familiar with and like, but you can get those kind of weird swings. Guys like Miles who like to sort of chase the edges of the map and mop up. He can come back and get you when you best expect it.
The best feeling in the world, and I can't wait for the public to feel it, is when you see a guy and you see that he's got the little orb, which means he's carrying stuff, and you kill him and pop him, and all the core files blow up. Yeah. It's like candy. It's like a pinata.
Sweet.
Gameplay mechanics is, do you go out?
Nice.